everyone, it's me, Tuniscia O, and we have who?
Ike O.
Alrighty, and welcome to Tea with Tuniscia O. So today we're going to talk about juggling different parenting styles. Many times when we have blended families in two separate households, things are done very differently. And my baby boy here and I were chatting about how that impacted him, moving from his biological mother's home at a young age in with my husband and I. And so, what did you share? What are your thoughts? How was that?
I felt confused.
That's so true. I love that you used the word confused. I'm not happy that you were confused, but I'm glad that you're old enough to realize that that was the emotion that you were feeling. So talk me through that. What was going on?
So I felt confused because when you and Daddy got married, and I started living here most of the time.
Yeah.
It was kind of different around here, and how you were running things,
Yeah.
you and Daddy. But when I was with Mommy, I was not really following directions that much.
So maybe part of the difference was now you were in a home where you had a mom and a dad. Daddy and your biological mom, they never lived together. So you never had an experience where there were two parents in the house at the same time, right? So that was different by itself, right? So that's part of it. Plus, you have older siblings. So there were already kids that had a structure and a way and an order on how they did things. And so you were just jumping right in, right?
Yes.
So that could be part of the different feeling, which I can understand that being confusing. What else?
When you and Daddy would tell me to do something a certain way, and Mommy would tell me to do something another way.
Yeah.
It was also confusing for me because I was thinking, so am I supposed to do this or that?
And then remembering, okay, when I'm here, I do it this way, and when I'm there,
I do it another way.
So what were some of the little things that we did to try to work through that, to kind of tweak the understanding of how to do things?
Well, first Daddy taught me how to be consistent. And why I should be consistent.
What did he share? Why?
Because I should be consistent, because if I'm not, then some people may think me as a wrong person.
Think of you?
Think of me as not a wrong person, but the person who changes all the time.
No, basically your character.
Character.
Yeah.
Character traits.
And you wanted them to have you wanted those character traits to show that you were a consistent person.
Yes.
Consistency also falls in line with dependability, right? People can count on you.
Yes.
That's a great characteristic for Daddy to help you with.
And Daddy said when I'm home and I do things a certain way, when I go to school, I'm on task, I should do that the same way with Mommy, and when Mommy drops me off at school.
So one of the things that we've taught is the way you do one thing is
the way you do everything.
You want to repeat that for them?
So the quote was, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
So if you slack off at home, where do you tend to also slack off in school too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So consistency, that was a great quality that Daddy taught you.
Yes.
I agree. So were there any other things that were confusing for you?
Yes, school.
Let's talk about that.
For me, going to two different schools.
When you talk about two different schools, are you talking about when you were in kindergarten and went to one school and went to a different school when you moved here?
Yes, and talking about when
Preschool.
Preschool, when I was during the week I would go to that school, then the other week I would go to a different school.
Right. So you actually had a lot of confusion. So for those who may not know, Daddy had you in a really good preschool.
Yes.
Where you were learning to write and read and Jesus and all that good stuff. And then your biological mom had you in a different type of school, right? So was there consistency? That kind of didn't help with your consistency either, having two different schools, did you?
No.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Parents, we do things and it seems right in the moment, and sometimes it's not always right, and sometimes we don't always think it all the way through, you know?
No.
Although the school you were in, you know, both daddy and your biological mom were doing the best they could.
They were.
They were putting you in school, but nobody thought about you in that moment and how confusing it was for you to be in two totally different schools, right?
Yes.
So I'm sorry about that. That's tough. I mean, we're smiling about it now, but geez Louise, you know?
It was.
That's tough.
And for me moving to different school when I lived at home, it wasn't really confusing at all.
Which one are you referring to elementary school?
Elementary school
Okay.
when I was in first grade.
Okay.
It wasn't confusing at all because it's normal.
Okay.
People
Okay.
move from different types of school, but I was nervous.
Of course. You had to meet new people.
Yes.
And boy, did everybody know you very quickly.
Yes.
They knew Ike because I was at that school all the time. I knew everybody very well, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Yes.
But guess what? I'm so excited about you now. Like that consistency that daddy taught you and all of your focus and discipline. I mean, what club weren't you in? You led your school to
book club.
And you led them to a victory at Battle of the Books. You were the team captain. You kicked butt.
I got a shirt too.
Yes. You were in the theater club. You were Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
In the chess club. And you were beating everybody's butt in chess.
Yes.
Which is something you do with daddy now.
Challenge me.
Yes. Challenge him. Don't challenge me because I don't know how to play. Maybe you could teach me sometime. What else?
Environmental club.
Environmental club.
Yearbook club.
Oh yeah, that yearbook is beautiful. You did a great job.
It is.
What else?
And
Band.
And band. So that's.
And you played
I think
football.
that was football. So that's 7.
Yes, that's a lot.
That is.
And you made honor roll.
And honor roll.
So you went from this kid who was confused and going through all these things, and you're still growing up, but we're going to shift into communication to talk about how you think the communication and some of the shifts that we made as parents to help you out, how do you think those things helped impact your current year where you're ending off 5th grade like on with a bang?
Well, 5th grade was good.
I
Good
know.
school year.
You kicked butt.
4th grade wasn't so great.
It wasn't, but let's talk about the positive because we know people tend to always talk about the negative, right?
Yes.
But you have a lot of great things to celebrate.
And the good thing is at the end of the, I think, school year, 4th grade,
Yeah?
I got honor roll.
You did.
That was my first.
Had your
honor
tonsils taken out, and you still made honor roll.
roll. Yes.
We worked a lot on that homework, didn't we?
Yes,
But we did it. We did it as a team. And I think that's part of the cool thing is you have team. You have a team, and do you feel supported by your family, your siblings, and everyone?
I do.
Yeah?
Feel supported the same way.
You do? So how about communication? How do you feel with communication? Do you feel that you have an open line of communication and you're able to talk and ask the questions you need to ask?
I am. It depends. 'Cause sometimes when I'm home, I'm able to express my feelings.
So when you're here with me and we're okay.
When I'm with mommy, I'm able to express my feelings too. But I feel it's a different kind of way me and mommy are communicating sometimes.
How so? Tell me a little bit more.
And so when I'm at mommy's, when I'm communicating, it's instead of, when I'm at home it's me and you, we go deeper and I explain to you. Sometimes when I'm with mommy, it's just I express my feelings, tell her how I'm feeling, then she will ask me a question. I will tell her, then it will be done.
That's it?
That's it.
So how have you adapted to that? Because I know we've had conversations about that. How have you adapted to that?
By, well, I have adapted to it because I had a talk with mommy.
Okay.
I remember sharing that with you.
You did.
And me communicating with mommy now, it's different.
How so?
Very. Because now when I'm communicating with mommy, we take some time to actually talk.
Good.
And get into what's happening and everything.
And asking questions.
Yes.
Because
and that we're going to Clomer.
Yes.
It's going to be
even better.
Even better.
You excited?
Yes, I am.
So they'll get to see it because we'll video live while we're out.
We'll be vlogging.
Yeah. We'll share with them our trip and biological mom coming along so that we can all be on the same page with parenting this little guy, right? So as you can see, parents, it is super important that although we are juggling different parenting styles, and we're all different because we come from different homes, different backgrounds, different religious beliefs, which means sometimes we eat differently, we have different cultural beliefs. But when we take the time and we ultimately have children together, it is so important that we try to understand things from a different point of view. The worst thing we can do is to just always be right. And while we may feel that we're 100% right, and while we may also make decisions that we feel is 100% the best thing for our child, it may not translate the same, and it could be hurting them. As you just heard him say, the first word that came to mind when he is describing juggling the different parenting styles, it's confusing. It's very confusing. So all you can do as parents is to communicate openly. Try to be as consistent as possible. Keep your word. If you make a promise, keep that promise, or don't make a promise. But be consistent. And if you are the other parent, maybe you are the step parent. We don't use the word step in our house, but if you are the other parent or the new parent or the person co-parenting, whoever it is, be yourself. Don't try to fit into anyone else's shoes. Don't try to fill in any spaces. The one thing that Ike and I talk about the most is that I am not here to replace his biological mother. And that's a conversation that her and I have had. I know that God has given this young man enough love in order for him to love me and to love her and to love his daddy. And so he has enough love to give. We don't compare.
No, we don't.
Her and I are two totally different women, but the one thing that we have the same is that we love him and we want the absolute best for him. So with that being said, we're going to conclude today. Continue to blend your love, and we will talk to you soon. Do you have any last words?
Yes, I do.
Let's get it.
So look for me and Mom's books.
Yes, look for our books. They're coming very, very soon.
In stores near you.
Yes, I love your public service announcements. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take
Ciao.
care. Ciao.